mynews.studio.
In Geneva, diplomats are deep in negotiations, but meanwhile, in the Persian Gulf, warships have started to gather. So the question is Iran just one miscalculation away from open conflict?
Let's get everyone up to speed. Today is February 24th, 2026. Iran is back in the spotlight worldwide. The U.S. is working on new nuclear terms, but President Trump is openly backing possible Israeli strikes on Iran's missile sites. Can you walk us through what's really driving this sudden surge in tension?
The most immediate factor is the breakdown so far of nuclear talks in Geneva. U.S. officials have told Reuters they're openly considering military options if Iran holds its ground. In response, Iran briefly closed parts of the Strait of Hormuz, a move that directly affects global oil shipments. But why would Iran take that kind of risk?
It's about leverage, isn't it? Roughly 1/5 of the world's oil passes through the strait. Even a short-lived closure sends shockwaves through the markets. Now, Iran's deputy foreign minister has floated some possible compromises, but the U.S. is holding a firm line. Do you see these moves as a bluff, or are we seriously on the edge of military escalation?
No, I think the military planning goes beyond posturing. Some reports even mention that weeks-long strike scenarios are being mapped out. What's especially new is the U.S. giving direct backing to Israeli action. That's a real departure. Also, with the U.S. election cycle starting to heat up.
So, political timing might be adding pressure, right? There's also the broader angle. Europe is urging restraint, but if Israel acts and Washington greenlights it, does that pull in NATO? And what about the energy markets if the strait stays unstable?
We're already seeing oil prices jump. Even the possibility of conflict is enough to unsettle global trade. But that's just one crisis we're tracking today. Let's turn to another, Mexico. The death of cartel leader El Mencho has thrown the region into turmoil.
Right. The Mexican military's operation has removed one of the top cartel figures. But the response was immediate. Retaliatory attacks have shut down flights in and out of Puerto Vallarta. Thousands of Canadians are stuck there now. Why is the Canadian angle so prominent?
Canada sends a large number of tourists to Mexico. With flights suspended and some resorts effectively locked down, Ottawa has put out urgent travel advisories. People on the ground are reporting gunfire, roadblocks, and barely any transportation. So does this signal a major shift for Mexico's tourism sector?
It's a real test for both countries. Mexico faces a power vacuum and the risk of wider instability. Canada is now working fast to arrange evacuations. The bigger question is whether the violence will spread or if Mexican officials can reestablish order.
And it's a reminder of how fast a local security crisis can become an international one. On that note, there's the latest in the U.S. trade dispute with its allies.
President Trump, even after a Supreme Court setback on his last tariff policy, has just announced a 15% global tariff using new legal grounds. Markets took a hit, and exporters, especially Canadian ones, are preparing for fallout. How big is this escalation?
This is a significant step up, not just against adversaries, but against close trading partners too. Take British Columbia's lumber industry. It's now facing even more uncertainty. In Alberta, there's growing talk of immigration referendums because of the economic fallout. Are we entering a new phase in this trade conflict?
It sure looks that way. The legal pushback hasn't slowed down the administration's actions. Some allies are now reconsidering their own policies, and we're starting to see political shifts, especially in the provinces hit hardest by these tariffs. Is this setting a precedent for how the U.S. might handle trade in the future?
Possibly. It shows that even legal barriers may not stop unilateral moves if there's enough political will. And the effects aren't just economic, they're political too, and they cross borders. Should we expect a coordinated pushback from major trade partners, or is this the beginning of a more fragmented approach?
That's the crucial issue. With everything happening, from Iran's standoff to cartel violence in Mexico to trade shocks in North America, are we watching isolated crises, or is there a bigger pattern emerging here?
Whichever it is, one thing is clear. These events are deeply connected. Thanks for joining us. as we unpacked the key crisis points of the day, each one shaping real lives and raising tough questions.
Today, we covered Iran's nuclear standoff, Mexico's cartel fallout, and the latest trade war escalation. What comes next, and how will global leaders handle it?
Thanks for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. You can try it now for free.